What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Morning Grind. I am your host today, TJ Zwarych, ready to break down Monday's 9-game MLB DFS slate. Joined by my man. I feel like we've really been holding this podcast down the last week, and I've been enjoying it, getting to hang out with you every few nights. Chief Justice Will Priester, how you doing?
I'm good, man. Another day, another dollar. We're in the building. I'm going to go ahead and put the disclaimer out there. It is storming. Oh, I forgot I have to take these off when we're live. It's just, they do help my eyes, though. Like, man, it is storming at my house. So I'm hoping that everything goes off without a hitch. You guys may even be able to hear some of that thunder. Lightning and the thunder. You guys might even be able to hear some of that. I will be muting myself and hopefully not forgetting to unmute the rest of the podcast. But I will say, folks, it's been a good month, and I've been ecstatic about, where we are this month. I talked to TJ about that before, but I've had a really profitable month, so I'm stoked.
Yeah, I had myself a good day today as well. I was heavily overweight on Ryan Yarbrough, so hopefully everybody tuned into the Morning Grind and you were able to pay up for some Braves, pay up for a little bit of Jose Ramirez, who double donged. And I think the reason you got Thunder and Lightning over there is because we have Noah Syndergaard, Thor, starting against the Astros, and there's going to be some noise. There's going to be some runs on Monday. But let's start diving into this slate. We got 9 games. It's not too many, but it's enough. First one, we got Milwaukee at Washington, 9 total in this one. Pulling up who the starting pitchers were because I was accidentally on the wrong page. Here we go. Milwaukee and Washington. We got Corbin Burns at Jake Irvin. We're probably not going to be playing any Jake Irvin in this spot, but how do you like Corbin Burns?
I'm going to temper my expectations with Corbin Burns. I know, so Washington is a wonky team, and I feel like I'm on repeat with this team. But if you can avoid Washington and Arizona and Cleveland and these low strikeout teams this season, you're really going to come out ahead. I understand that Corbin Burns can come out and get 10 strikeouts today. Like, I understand, conceptually, it's Washington, but I'm not sold that Corbin Burns is going to have an upside game today. I'm probably in the minority. I don't care. I'm going full fade on Corbin Burns. Like, Washington has done this time and time again. They just don't. You're just not going to beat them with the strikeouts. And so as a result, I'm taking a fade on Corbin Burns. I'll live with whatever results happens today. Understandably, I'm in the minority, but I'm not doing it. I'm taking a full fade.
I don't love the price tag of Burns going up against a low strikeout team like Washington, but the biggest thing for me is I want to see how many lefties are in this lineup because Burns has been aggressively reverse splitsy this year. 29% strikeout rate to lefties, which is elite, 21.5 to righties. 52% ground ball percentage to lefties, which is elite, 33.5 to righties, not very good. Hard hit percentage, 31% to lefties. That's fantastic. 43% to righties, not so great. And so he's been kind of below average this year to right-handed bats, but absolutely elite to lefties. So if we get a lineup from Washington that has 5, 6, 7 left-handed bats in there, I'm going to be a lot more interested in Verlander than if it's just like 3, 4, something like that. Burns, yeah. I'm going to be very, very interested to see the lineup. Irvin on the other side, I'm going to assume we're not really interested in getting to him. No. How do you feel about the Milwaukee bats against them?
I don't hate the bat. Like, Washington isn't like the best ballpark to hit in for what it's worth. So I'm not going to be stacking Milwaukee, but I do think just, a few, like, I don't mind one-off Yelich. I don't mind one-off Contreras at catcher. I don't mind a one-off Adames at shortstop. Like, I don't ever mind stuff like that. So that's how I'm going to treat this team, purely one-offs. I don't think I'm even getting to mini stacks.
Yeah, I feel like I could maybe get there with the mini stack. They are nice and cheap, but I'm with you. I'm not they're not going to be near the top of the board to me. I think they're just kind of fine. Washington's got a terrible bullpen. Irvin's not very good. And so I think Milwaukee's absolutely in play, but they're not going to be one of my top stacks today. Washington going up against Burns, I don't really think I have any interest there.
Yeah, I'm not stacking Washington, but I am a believer that they can limit upside. Like in terms of consistently this season. Once again, I fully understand Burns can come out and get 8 or 9 strikeouts, but I'm going to go with them limiting him. But I'm also going to go with Burns limiting their production.
Tampa Bay at the Yankees. We have no total yet in this one. It's Glasnow at Domingo Germán. Do you have any interest in Tyler Glasnow, 10.5K going up against the Yankees? And kind of in comparison, how do you rank Glasnow versus Burns?
Yeah, Glasnow's definitely above Burns for me. Yankees, while they might have some name value, these clowns have been striking out all season. I don't see any reason why they're going to all of a sudden come back down to earth and have low K rates in this matchup. So I really like Tyler Glasnow. In terms of the upper tier, and ironically, Abbott is in the upper tier today at 10K, so he gets included. Glasnow is definitely my guy. He's the most expensive, don't care. If I have to spend all the way up, he's the guy I want to get to. K rate's been off the charts, and once again, he gets a really high strikeout offense in the Yankees.
Glasnow is the type of guy that if he's at a spot where we're not worried about his pitch count, they're not limiting him in any way. He's always got so much upside, and he was up to 97 pitches in his last start. So hopefully he could get upwards of 100 again today. I kind of view Burns as maybe a bit safer of an option in the sense of I think he has a higher floor. I think Glasnow has a lower floor because he gets hit pretty hard. He could give up a few homers and maybe get out of there early. But his strikeout upside is so much higher against this Yankee team because there just is a lot more Ks there than there is in Washington. So I agree. I like Glasnow a little bit better. I maybe think Burns has a higher floor, but I think Glasnow definitely has a higher ceiling. What about Domingo Germán at 7,300 going up against Tampa Bay? I typically don't really like taking pitchers against Tampa Bay, but 7.3 is a pretty nice price tag for Germán. I don't mind getting there.
Yeah, it's an interesting spot. Like, do I think so? Let me phrase it this way. Do I think Domingo gives up a couple of runs? Yes. Do I also think he gets enough strikeouts? Yes. Do I think he's going to go past 20 fantasy points? No. Do I think he goes past 15? Maybe. I think he's somewhere between 15 and 20 fantasy points at 7,300. I think the price is worth the risk, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think he's probably not going to be somebody I'm aggressively targeting, but if all of a sudden I got 7,300 left in a lineup, I'm looking for an SP2. I'm not going to readjust things because I don't want to play Germán. I'm totally fine with him as an SP2. Maybe a little bit dangerous playing a guy like him. He's not very consistent, but he does have a ton of upside, so I don't mind getting him whatsoever. How about the Tampa Bay bats going up against Germán? For me, I think like maybe in an MME setting, but it's a big enough slate where I don't really feel like I need to target either side of the bats in this game.
I think with Tampa Bay, I'm probably more interested. I'm not going to play Germán with Tampa Bay, but I do think a full stack is worth it in a few spots. Like I'm saying, if you're running 150, I think getting 8 to let's say 5 to 8 stacks of this team. I think considering Germán can get busted up here, I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, I think that's exactly where I'd put it in a 150 build as well. I think maybe I'd have one full Tampa stack if I was running 20 lineups. Yeah. And that's kind of where I'd be looking to go with it. So maybe I also don't mind maybe getting to a little bit of a Brandon Lau as a one-off. And then in terms of the Yankees, like you can always play Aaron Judge. Absolutely. If you want a one-off Giancarlo Stanton, that there's no problem with that. But outside of that, I'm pretty much going to be out on the Yankees.
Yeah, I'm not really worried about the Yankees today.
If you're watching us on YouTube, whether you're one of our wonderful live viewers or watching Monday morning, make sure you hit that like button and hit that notification bell, and make sure you're subscribed to the Morning Grind channel as well. Next game we got Baltimore at Toronto. Both of these teams looking to probably be buyers at the trade deadline. Jays just picked up Jordan Hicks today. We got a 9 total in this game. Chris Bassett and Kyle Gibson. Do you have any interest in Gibson going up against the Blue Jays?
No,
me neither. He's got a nice cheap price tag, so it's like I don't think it's the most ridiculous thing if you're running a ton of lineups, but I'm not going to be getting there. How about Bassett going up against the Orioles? That's a good price tag for him at 7,500. He's a great pitcher against righties, one like borderline elite. Against lefties, he's really struggled this year, and there are some strong lefties in that Baltimore lineup. How do you feel about Bassett at 7,500?
I think Bassett is kind of the same as Domingo to me today. Like at 70, so Bassett has more upside than Kyle Gibson, which is why I'm not playing Kyle Gibson. So let me get that out of the way. I understand Kyle Gibson could get you 12 to 15, but I think Bassett has more upside than Gibson in this spot. So back to Bassett. That's kind of when I'm in the same boat as Domingo. I fully understand Baltimore could blow up Bassett. I also think, does he get 20 fantasy points? No. Does he finish somewhere in the 13, 14, 18 range? Probably. For Bassett is what I'm saying. So if that's the case, I think I've got some interest. If Bassett finishes with 18 fantasy points, I don't think we're going to be complaining. So that's where I am with him.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. I like the one-offs in going up against him for Baltimore.
Yeah,
I'm all aboard some Gunnar Henderson, some Adley Rutschman, but I don't think this is going to be a full stack spot for me.
Yeah, I'm with you. Once again, I feel like to me, TJ, this is almost an identical spot to Tampa Bay, where I think I still have 5 to 8 Baltimore stacks and 150 max build. Just because if they roll out, they're going to roll out lefties, Rutschman could hit a bomb, Henderson could hit a bomb, switching to Santander could hit a bomb. They just have guys that could kind of have these one-off home runs, and so as a result, I think I'm gonna roll out a few stacks, in 150 max, but not if I'm running single entry, I'm probably not stacking Baltimore, if that makes any sense.
I think this would be one of those teams that would be at near the bottom of my board for full stacks, but they would probably be among my higher owned mini stacks. I could see myself getting to a lot of 3-man stacks, just only lefties.
Yeah, Santander, Henderson, and Rutschman by themselves. I mean, that's juicy. You could almost get probably most of their fantasy production from those 3 guys.
Yeah, you have a lot of those mini stacks with those 3 guys, and then you add in a few full stacks, mixing in O'Hearn and Adam Frazier, something like that. How about Toronto going up against Kyle Gibson in this one?
Yeah, this is legit a full stack team today. Toronto, I mean, man, I feel like whenever Toronto's in this type of spot where it feels juicy, they always let me down. But you can't worry about the always let me downs. You got to worry about today. And so I think all in all, Varsho, Whit Merrifield, Springer, Kiermaier, Bo Bichette, you got to pay for him. Vlad, Brandon Belt still hitting every day almost, and he's 3,200. The difference is this is one of those where maybe I stack a lot more Toronto or FanDuel where I can get Vlad and Belt in the lineup, because I mean Belt's cheap on DK, but you got to split with him and Vlad. On FanDuel, I can get them both. And I like that proposition today in a few lineups.
Yeah, I like that too. Anytime the Blue Jays are facing somebody who gets hit hard, doesn't strike out too many guys, doesn't really matter to me if he's good at limiting damage, like Gibson is sometimes, is like if you're getting the bat if you're just pitching in contact against Toronto, it usually doesn't go very well for you. So I like Toronto quite a bit in this spot as well. Next up, we got the Angels at Atlanta. We got the Angels at
at Atlanta.
Wow, okay, hold on. I pulled up the wrong plate IQ, then I messed myself up. We got the Angels in Atlanta. Angels freshly just traded for Lucas Giolito, and now they got Randall Grichuk and CJ Cron. We don't know if these guys are going to be ready.
CJ Cron homecoming. CJ Cron made his name in LA, by the way.
There you go. And so he's headed home. And I don't know if they're going to be in the lineup yet, but this should still be a pretty exciting game. Lots of fireworks. We always know we like Atlanta in these spots. We got Griffin Canning facing Charlie Morton. Griffin Canning at 7,200 going up against Atlanta. He's been really good lately, but I don't think I can really play him against Atlanta.
I can. I'm going to keep riding. I'm going to keep riding Griffin Canning. At 7,200, like his upside is for sure worth the downside. I think that's where I'm at. So it's not like I'm going to have Griffin Canning like 50% of my lineups, but 7,200 for Canning, 7,500 for Bassett, 7,300 for Domingo. Like, I feel like we've got a good pool of this mid to low 7K guys. I think he fits the bill. I understand Atlanta's probably going to, score a few runs, but I definitely think Canning has some upside here. Like, we've seen him outside of one matchup with the Dodgers. Like, we've really seen him kind of tee off here, even against Arizona. And I think Arizona was a good measuring stick, right? And this was in June. He got 9 strikeouts against Arizona. Folks, Arizona is one of the lowest strikeout teams in baseball. He had 9. Like, when I see stuff like this gets me excited. I mean, like I said, outside of that one matchup with the Dodgers recently, he's been on autopilot. I can't in good conscience, even though it's my team and TJ, because I'm going to play Cannon against my team. They're going to score 12 runs. Cannon's going to end -5. I know, but I can't overlook the performance, and not just the performances, the data. Like his K rate's been through the roof over the past 30 days, and it's helped his year out as well. I probably like him more than the other 2 guys, for what it's worth.
I think he's got higher upside and definitely a lower floor than both of those guys as well, which makes him a great tournament play. Makes him a great tournament play. And it's like you said, if you are going to be playing him, just also make sure you're playing lots of Atlanta stacks. Find ways to be mixing in lots of Atlanta as well, because the chances are he probably will give up lots of runs. It's Atlanta. That's the most likely scenario. But if he doesn't, those strikeouts are also going to be mixed in. And so that's why you want to be playing for that upside as well.
Let me say this. I hope, and I know people probably like, well, why is Chief so excited about Griffin Canning? So that's the secret to tournaments, folks. Like, you have to get excited about these types of plays. Like, this is where you win tournaments. Everybody's going to be stacking the Braves today because the Braves are the hottest team in baseball, air quotes and not air quotes. And I love the Braves. They're my favorite team. But Griffin Canning may be one of the hottest pitchers in baseball from a strikeout perspective. And at 7,200, this is where you just kind of have to take some stands and say, you know what? I like this guy. And this is how tournament dollars are put into your DraftKings and FanDuel accounts, by taking some stabs like this. So don't ever be afraid to be comfortable being uncomfortable. That's how you win tournaments. All right, I'm done.
Had myself 30% Ryan Yarbrough today because he was facing Minnesota and finished second in my GPP. So definitely I'm with you. Getting comfortable, getting uncomfortable in those tournament spots. How about Charlie Morton at 9,300 going up against the Angels? For me, it's going to depend a lot on this lineup that the Angels put out. If these guys they just traded for aren't there yet outside of Ohtani, this is a pretty darn weak lineup. I'm going to like Morton regardless, but how high he is on my list is going to depend on that lineup.
Yeah, for sure. And then the other thing about Morton too, like, historically he's been a ground ball guy and has been a guy that can really get righties. If we see a fairly right-handed heavy lineup, because I mean, you got to think now, Grichuk and Crone are still righties. So if they come in and they become everyday guys, which they're probably going to split Crone and Moustakas, if I'm thinking properly. I think they'll platoon them, but I could be wrong. But that's just what I have in my mind right now.
For what it's worth, this season, Morton's been pretty aggressively reverse splitsy.
Yeah.
10% better K rate to the lefties. Getting hit hard 9% less, ground balls 7% more to lefties. So if we do get those platoon guys in there, that might be just raising that upside up for Morton.
Yeah. So I like Morton today. At 9,300, I definitely think you need to have some shares. He's got some upside.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. On the flip side, how do you like the Angels going up against him? I don't really ever like stacking against Morton, but I think Ohtani is always one of the very top bats on the slate.
Yeah, don't hate Ohtani, but I'm not thrilled about this team overall. So they're probably, they're probably going to be at the bottom for me in terms of stacks. But I don't ever hate a one-off Ohtani.
Yeah, similar page for me. Atlanta, even though Canning is a very interesting tournament play, it's tough to call Atlanta ever not a top 3 stack on the slate.
Yep, I'm with you 100%. And that's kind of how I feel about it. So I'm not going to play Canning and Atlanta together. But here's what I will say, TJ. This is one where I will probably be about even. So, for instance, if I say, well, I want 20% Canning today, once go through lineup HQ, I'm also going to try to get 20% of the Braves. Instead, if that makes any sense, like I feel like it's even on both sides, and I almost don't feel like there's middle ground in this one. I think either Canning has an upside game or Atlanta beats the snot out of them. I think it's one or the other. And so for me, I'm not playing Canning for the 15 fantasy points. I'm playing him for the 28 fantasy points, but I'm also playing him for the -5, -6, because if Atlanta pounds him, he's probably going negative.
Beautifully said. I honestly don't have anything else to add. Acuna is always one of the top spend ups on the slate. Matt Olson is he's kind of I think he's probably my favorite one on the board today. Next one, we got Cincinnati going out to Wrigley. This is going to be interesting to see what we got for wind in this one. We got an 8 total right now, so I'm guessing it's not. I'm guessing we don't have too aggressive of winds blowing out. That sounds just based on that first look like they might be blowing in. But of course, we're going to have Ross weather report letting us know about that one. We pitchers in this one. We got Abbott going up against Marcus Stroman. Do you have any interest in Abbott going up against the Cubs?
This is a tough one for me because Abbott at 10K, I don't think it's a bad price. So let me get that out of the way. I don't think it's bad. I'm just, and I know over the past 30 days, like his stuff has been really good. I feel like I can get to some shares, but I don't know if I want to. Like it's like I feel like he still might be a little bit too expensive, even though the guy's his fantasy points per game, he's averaging 23 fantasy points. Like it's not like he hasn't been good. I think I'm having sticker shock, and that's the reality of why I don't want to play him. As a result, he's probably my second tier down in terms of the big spins. I think his ownership comes in low. I think I get at least 15%. I know I had to kind of talk myself through that, but I think I get about Abbott, no more than that. And then if the ownership on him climbs to like 20 on the slate, like I'm comfortable taking a fade here. But I think I get to around 15. That's me thinking through where I think his ownership's going to land.
Yeah, it's dependent on 2 things for me: ownership and what's that wind doing in Wrigley. We know it's the most wind-sensitive park in baseball, so if we got a big wind blowing in, then yeah, I'm going to have some interest in him regardless. And then outside of that, it's really going to depend on how much interest is going to depend on his ownership, because we know he's got that upside, but it does feel a little bit like a Cinderella situation. We're waiting for that clock to turn midnight because it seems like too strong of production to last forever based on that his underlying numbers. How about Stroman going up against Cincinnati? 8,400 is not a bad price tag for him, but I think on a 9-game slate, I'm just going to be chasing upside a little bit more, and I'm not going to have interest in a low strikeout pitcher like Stroman.
Yeah, I think I'm going to fade Stroman today at 8,400. I don't think he's better. I don't think his price or his upside is better than the 7K guys. Not one of them.
Yeah.
So he's getting the fade.
Yeah, somebody whose floor might be a little bit higher than those 7K guys, but the ceiling is probably arguably lower than every single one of them.
Oh, it is lower, for sure.
Yeah, 100%. I'm with you there. How about the bats going up against Stroman? That's more of a win thing for me as well. It's a ground ball pitcher. If we got that wind blowing in as well, it's going to be tough to do damage, and so I probably won't have much interest in Cincinnati.
Yeah, same here.
Cubs, on the other hand, against Abbott, you can always one-off somebody like Morel, Happ, Suzuki is nice and cheap, but I don't have a lot of interest in the Cubs either.
It's just blah. Like this to me, this is a blah hitting matchup. I do like Abbott some. So like I said, about 15% on him, but I'm going to fade both of these offenses unless we have a drastic shift for this win.
Outside Atlanta and maybe a couple Baltimore bats and some Toronto bats, there really aren't. We haven't hit that many like strong offenses so far, but I think we're going to be getting one in this one. We got Noah Syndergaard going up against JP France, Cleveland at Houston, 9 total in this one. Syndergaard's coming off the IL, and even at 6K, that's a no from me.
I'm fading both of these pitchers for what it's worth.
JP France at 7,100. I think I can get there. He's got some upside. The pitch count is there. He's not a big strikeout guy, and this isn't a big strikeout team, but I could absolutely see him going 7-8 innings in this one. And if and at a 7.1 price tag, I think that's more than good enough. And so I'm gonna include him personally in that same group of Canning, Bassett, Herman. I'm gonna be wanting to get to JP France at that same multitude, maybe even mixing some lineups where I'm going 2 7K pitchers in the same lineup. How about bats today? Cleveland going up against JP France.
So I think if I get to anybody from Cleveland, obviously, it's J-Ram, but, maybe I get to a little bit of Quan. I think if I stack this team, I'm doing it because I'm not expecting France to pick up the strikeouts, and I'm expecting Cleveland to score a few runs. So I do think I stack both sides of this team. I think I stack less Cleveland than I do Houston for what it's worth. So if I'm quantifying that in lineup HQ, I probably get to maybe 7-8% of Cleveland stacks, and probably more like 15 to 20% of Houston. Did I say that right? 7 to 8% for Cleveland, 15 to 20% probably for Houston, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I think that makes complete sense. I'm definitely going to be getting to a lot more Houston. The reason I'm going to be interested in JP France is if we look at the lineup Cleveland used today, for example, against a righty in Kopech, they had 3 right-handed bats in that lineup: Gallagher, Arias, and Oscar Gonzalez. Not anything that we're far too worried about. The top bats, Jimenez, Ramirez, Naylor, Bell, even Stephen Kwan, all lefties, and JP France is way better to left-handed bats than he is right-handed bats. And so if we get another one of these heavily left-handed lineups, I feel similarly about him is that I was going to compare him to somebody else, and I realized what I was comparing him to was himself, who I just broke down a couple seconds ago. So I do really like JP France because I feel like he's going to be able to just cruise through innings. He doesn't get hit very hard by lefties. And I could see him easily going, doesn't walk very many guys. 20% K rate it's not good, but it's fine. It's just he gives up a hard contact 48% of the time to righties, only 32 to lefties. And the sample size has been there to kind of show that that's reasonable. And so I do really like France. If we get a heavy left-handed lineup, I think he'll be able to cruise through some innings. But Cleveland, I don't think I'm going to get to a lot of them. Houston, on the other hand, I think this is going to be one of my top stacks on the entire slate.
Yeah, love Houston. Alvarez, Tucker. They've got Altuve back now. They've got still got Dubon, Abreu. They just got guys, man. And so for me, Bregman's been hitting well. And guess what? You can tell because all the prices are up now. Half the good hitters are 5,200. Whereas this is where our 7K pitchers are going to come in. You use 2 7K pitchers, and that's how you're going to get this kind of offense. You use 2 7K pitchers, that's how you're going to get Atlanta. And maybe not 2, but you could probably squeeze Morton and a 7K guy and get there. But my point is, this is the benefit of the 7K pitchers. And so I really, really, really like Houston today. I'm with you so far. Definitely one of the top stacks. If I had to rank them right now, be Houston. I think I like Tampa Bay a little bit more than you do. I'm not saying Tampa Bay's 2. I think with the teams that we've gone through, I think it'd be Houston, Toronto, Baltimore, Tampa, Atlanta. Those would be my rankings, even though I fully understand Atlanta's better than half these offenses.
And I mean, we're going to chase the power in this one as we should, but don't forget the speed in this one as well, because Syndergaard is as easy to steal against as anybody.
Yeah.
So Jeremy Pena, Jose Altuve, anybody with some speed, make sure to get them in there as well. Huge total in this next game. We got Coors and we got the Padres at Coors, 12 total. Austin Gomber pitching for Colorado, Seth Lugo pitching for San Diego. Do you have any interest in Lugo in Coors?
I don't hate Lugo for what it's worth at 6,600. Like, I feel like we've got enough of a bump on him. I'm never afraid of Colorado. And now that some of these other guys are gone, like, I don't shy away from this just because it's in Coors. Seth Lugo's on my list today, like big time at 6,600.
I really hope people go, this is Coors Field, XX on the pitchers, because I don't ever play pitchers in Coors Field, because if he's going to be low owned, Seth Lugo is my favorite pitcher on the slate. 6,600. Yeah, like that's too cheap for him. And it's exactly like you said, we are not worried about Colorado. No Crone, no Grichuk. We're a lot less worried about Colorado. And so Seth Lugo, I think, is absolutely in play against just a very weak offense at 6,600.
Good turn to play.
20 to 25 point upside. And all we're going to need from him at that price is 14, 15, and that's totally good enough. So I love Lugo in this spot. How about Austin Gomber at 5K? He's actually been producing. He's gone at least 6 innings in every game he's pitched since the end of June. Do you think we can? It's a wildly difficult matchup, but do you think we can play a little bit of Austin Gomber at 5K?
I don't think I need him, and that's why I'm going to fade him. It's really nothing more than that.
At 150 lineups, he's so cheap that I might throw a couple darts just so, like, I might hand build a few in there and just be like, Gomber, Lugo, Olsen, Acuna, Riley, Alvarez, and just do something like that. But definitely not going to be somebody I'm going to plan on getting in a lot of lineups. I want to stack San Diego against him, though. Likely they're going to be chalky, but this is the top stack on the slate. Fernando Tatis is the top bat on the slate. Manny Machado is one of the best bats on the slate. Ha-Seong Kim left the game, and he's day-to-day, and so I'm assuming he's going to be out on Monday. He would have been a great spot in the leadoff spot, but now that he's out of there, we might get a couple cheapies in here somewhere. Where do the Padres rank among your top stacks?
0.
Not playing them?
No, but you listen. That's just my brand. I don't play Coors Field, and I live with the results of that every time. And so everybody knows that. And guess what, guys? Long term, I come out ahead. How many times do you see these big offenses go in Coors and score 0 runs? Like, I just fade it every time. But once again, I will play pitchers because I think sometimes they get discounted too much. And against the Rockies, I think this is too big of a discount. Seth Lugo should have still been 7,500 in this spot, not 66.
Yeah, I agree with you there. It's going to depend on the ownership for me. If they are egregiously owned and they are by far the highest owned stack on the slate, well, I'm going to get a lot more Houston and a lot more Atlanta, and I'm going to be underweight on these guys. If they're comparable with Atlanta, Houston won't be as near as highly owned, but if they're comparable with Atlanta, then maybe I'll get a little bit more San Diego, a little less Atlanta. And so it's going to depend a lot on the ownership, a lot on the lineup. The one thing I will say is Gary Sanchez at 3,700 is a phenomenal one-off.
Yep,
he'll probably be highly owned, but he's great chance to home run in this spot. And I would say Soto, Machado, and Sanchez are the 3 people you're making sure you get into your cash games if you're playing those at this stage in the season. How about Colorado going up against Lugo? I think you can play Ryan McMahon as a one-off. I think you can play. I mean, and Nolan Jones exited the game, and so he might not play on Monday. Blackman's on the IL. Bryant's on the IL. This is just such a ridiculously bad lineup.
It's going to be bad. Okay,
I might get a lock button on Lugo. Like, I
get it, bro. Listen, you might be the only other person that will get that aggressive, like I would. Like the lock button on Lugo isn't going to feel good because it's Coors. Like, our brains are like conditioned to say it's Coors. You get guys, hey guys, this Coors lineup, the Colorado Rockies lineup is going to be dreadful. Like I get it. Like it might be a risk worth taking because here's why. Even if he only gets 20 fantasy points, that's enough. He's 6,600. Do you know how many other offense? If you've locked in Seth Lugo, then that means in every lineup you've got Seth, who's probably going to score 20 to 25 fantasy points. I'm starting to get real predictive here, TJ. You're locking in Seth. He's scoring 20 to 25, right? And now you can just run through your other 5 pitchers that you like equally at 20% or one at 30, one at 10, one at – oh, man, the possibilities are endless. You can literally just stack the Braves, Houston, all the big teams. TJ, you might have just sold me on the Lugo lock button. This is going to be insane.
Just make the entirety of my pool Glasnow, Morton, Bassett, Herman, Canning, France, and Lugo. Hit him with and Pivetta, maybe throw Pivetta in there, and that's the entirety of my. It's tempting. It's really tempting. I'm gonna have to see the lineup. The one thing I like so much about it is like if I'm planning on playing 100 lineups in the $3 DK contest tomorrow. Go about that like it's gonna feel uncomfortable until I look at my stack summary in lineup HQ and see 20% Atlanta, 20% San Diego, and 20% Houston. It's gonna feel real good then.
Here's the thing, and I know we've only got 2 games left, so we'll be out of here shortly. If I lock in Lugo, and I didn't think we were going to talk about this in this pod, but this is good stuff. If I lock in Lugo, see, I may even compress my pitcher pool a little bit more. I might get rid of one of the 7K guys and literally just go Glasnow, Abbott.
Here's the thing. I would be more willing to get rid of Abbott and Morton just because we don't know which of these 7K guys is going to hit, but we do know 1 or 2 of them will. We don't know which of these it's flipping a coin who's going to have a better score between Bassett, Herman, Canning, and France. And so that's why I'd want to make sure I'm including all of them. So I make sure I hit that combo. So I get 2 high scoring pitchers with Atlanta, 2 high scoring pitchers with Houston. And that way I feel like I'd be more willing to omit like Abbott and Morton and just really load up on the cheap guys and fully embrace getting overweight on the expensive stacks.
Let me say this. I'm probably more likely to get rid of Morton than I am Abbott for what it's worth. I think because I'm already not playing Burns. You see what I'm saying? Like he's gone. So I'd probably have Glasnow, Abbott. Yeah, that's what I do. I'm gonna TJ. One of us should win. Lock in Lugo, Glasnow, Abbott, Herman, Canning, France. So Herman, Canning, Bassett. That's probably the direction I go.
And then I'm gonna add France and Pivetta.
Right, and then I get Pivetta because he's facing Seattle. I think what I'll do rather, I'm just talking through it. Folks, this is good stuff. This is really good. We're talking lineup HQ in our minds. We're not like quite looking at it just yet. But if I do that, I'm going to look at ownership. And then if let's say Herman is like 8% owned, then I know, okay, I can get 12% Herman. And I'll split the difference between like him and Bassett because I like Canning more. So I'll probably get up to, I don't know, 30%, 30 to 35% Glasnow. And then I'll probably get 15% on Herman, 15% on Canning, 15% on Bassett. Which that's 45, 75, 80. I probably go up to about 20 to 25% on Canning because I like him more than the others. And we just figured it out. But anyway, just want to talk through that. This was good.
The
I like
beauty
it.
of that too is like if you're playing 150, you're gonna have 30 full Brave stacks. And so if the Braves do what the Braves are supposed to do, you're gonna be just so set. If they don't, well, that's because Canning went off. And so you're gonna be
Correct.
set regardless, and you're gonna have the other 120 of your stacks with double good pitchers, and you're set up in such a good spot.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'm all aboard that train. I love that one. We're overloading on Lugo, and I think I'm probably going to play a lot of Pavetta as well. We got Boston at Seattle. Seattle is a really strikeout heavy team. Only a 7.5 total in this one. Nice and small. We got Pavetta at George Kirby. Pavetta at 6,600. This is 100% in on my board. Kirby at 8,600. I like that price tag, but I do not like George Kirby against lefties, and Boston is mostly lefties.
Yep. Fading Kirby. Don't hate Pavetta at 6,600.
Yeah, I'm with you there 100%.
Probably gets 6 strikeouts, gives up 3 home runs.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that. And at 6,600, you're definitely going to be okay with that. And he has the upside. We've seen it recently that he could go out there and K 10 guys against the Mariners. This is a team that does strike out so much. So I like that one quite a bit. Boston going up against Kirby. I rarely like full stacking against Kirby. He doesn't walk a lot of guys, but
Yep.
I love the one-offs, and then even making a mini stack with the guy with Devers, with Yoshida, Duran, and Tristan Cassis is probably my favorite of the bunch at 3,500. That's not true. He's second behind Devers. But I really like these guys with one-offs or mini stacks.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm with Boston. Like Boston 2 to 3 mans. And I will say this. Like, because Kirby kind of limits the damage, doesn't walk a lot of guys, if the runs come, it's probably a single, double RBI, something like that, or like a solo shot. You shouldn't be stringing together runs on him typically. So I really like that call. Devers, you talked about him. Like, I don't have to sell you on these guys. You just take the one-offs of the main guys and you'll be good.
I'm going to have to wait and see what the odds are on Monday morning, but I can almost guarantee that I'm not on Crunch Time or Grinders Live on Monday, but so we'll give you a little early Spidey Bomb action. I want 2 more likes to make sure we get this up to 20 here on the late night morning grind. But for me, I can guarantee Cassis or Devers, but maybe both are going to be Spidey bombs for Monday's slate, because I do really like targeting lefties going up against Kirby. Seattle, I think it's interesting to stack up against Pavetta, but I'm not planning on doing it. There's too many other offenses I like.
Yeah, same with you. I mean, I like Seattle with one-offs for Pavetta, but I'm not stacking them.
The spot that I will say would be my favorite to roll out some Seattle is, like, they are pretty cheap outside of Julio Rodriguez, who isn't even that expensive. Everybody else on that team is below 4K. So they do make a pretty easy stack, and they are high upside to go with if you're playing like Glasnow Abbott lineup, a Glasnow Morton lineup, something like that. Final game of the slate, we got Arizona at San Francisco. No total yet in this one. Cobb going up against Nelson. Do you have any interest in Alex Cobb going up against Arizona?
No,
me neither. Arizona is just too low strikeout of a team, too good of an offense. Ryan Nelson at 6,200 going up against San Francisco. He's shown a little bit of upside at times, but I like all the other cheap pitchers better.
Yeah, he's all over the place, and we got some other guys that I think have way more upside than him. Like, so okay, this should tell you all you need to know. Ryan Nelson is 6,200. Seth Lugo is 66, facing a really bad Colorado team.
Yeah,
that's all you need to know.
Yeah, and I would rank him behind Pavetta as well. How do you feel about Arizona going up against Alex Cobb? I usually don't like playing people against Cobb. He's a great ground ball pitcher. Arizona has, like, Corbin Carroll has a 29% fly ball rate, 29% line drive rate. So I don't hate the idea of playing like a one-off Corbin Carroll, something like that, but I don't really plan on getting him any Arizona bats.
Yeah, I don't think Arizona tees off on Cobb, but because they're so low strikeout and a much better offense than the Washington Nationals, like I probably get to them in a 150 bill. I don't think I get to them in a 20 max bill for what it's worth. In a 150 max, I think I get some. I probably get to 5 to 8% of Arizona stacks.
Ryan Nelson strikes out 13% of lefties. Gives up a 242 ISO, gets hit hard 48% of the time. Yes, we have to worry about pinch hit risk for the San Francisco lefties always, but still, I think they are in a great spot going up against Ryan Nelson.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you look at the San Francisco lineup. One of the things they are going to do is they're going to platoon really well today. The lefties are going to be in full force. Jock, Conforto, you name it. Like they're going to be out. The lefties will be in full effect. So I like this team. Just know that hopefully, you can get them for at least 3 at bats and not their typical 2 today.
Yastrzemski left the game on Sunday with hamstring tightness. Lamont Wade was not in the lineup on Sunday due to a back injury. It's his 3rd straight game he's sat. So there is a chance we could get more righties in the lineup than we're used to. If you get Flores, if you get JD Davis in the lineup, they're great plays because you're
JD isn't going to get pulled out. JD typically doesn't get pulled.
Exactly. And so, like, if you get any right-hander starting, they're not going to get pinch hit for, so they're a great play. Conforto and Jock Peterson, it doesn't really matter because, like, Jock at 4K, Jock Peterson just should not be 4K. Like, he's probably going to be one of the most likely players on the entire slate to hit a home run, and 4K is just far too cheap. So I don't know how many full stacks I'm going to have. It's probably going to depend on that lineup, but I do really like some mini stacks and a couple one-offs in this game. Time for the morning grind game, Chief. I think I fully just got this down now. We love the pitchers under 8K today, so give me a pitcher under 8K who's going to give us 6 or more strikeouts.
I'm going with my homeboy, Griffin Canning.
All right, I'm going to take Seth Lugo from this one. Our guys today, we're going to spend down a pitcher. We're going to make some money. Give me a pitcher over 8K who's going to get less than 15 fantasy points. Who's going to bust?
I could go really contrary here, but I'm not. I probably am. Give me Kirby at 86.
You considered Corbin Burns, though, didn't you?
I did consider Corbin Burns.
I'll take Stroman at 8,400.
Yep.
Give me a batter under 4K who's going to get us 2 or more hits.
This one was a tricky one for me.
Outside of Coors. I don't know if that's.
Oh yeah, but I don't play Coors anyway. I don't play Coors with us. You never have to worry about that with me. This one was a tricky one for me, but in the end, I think I decided to settle in with my good friend, and this is a guy that I've been playing a long time, almost all season. Give me Perdomo from Arizona, right on the edge, 3,900.
All right, I'm going to take Brandon Belt for the Blue Jays.
Love it.
Who is over 5K outside of Coors hitting a homer?
Give me. Let me make sure my boy is right here. Let me make sure he's over 5K. I think he is. I'm not going to do it. He's right at 5K. I'll give you someone else. Give me Tucker at 5,700.
I'm staying on the same team. He's been red hot. I'm going Alex Bregman is going to knock one out of the park.
I was going to go with Adley Rutschman. He was right at 5K.
I would have considered Gunnar Henderson, but he's only at 4,900.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on actually all 3 of those players we just mentioned. Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman, and Alex Bregman almost always have really, really strong home run odds. So if you're somebody who likes making those parlays, making those home run bets, check those out as well. 9 games. We did some great lineup HQ style analysis, and we're still getting out of here in well under an hour. We're getting good at this, Will, building up the chemistry, keeping it speedy while giving good analysis at the same time. Make sure you hit the like button on the way out, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Even if you're watching us on YouTube Monday morning, hit that. Make sure to hit all those things as well. Then if you're listening in podcast form, give Stevie a nice 5-star rating, write a nice little review. We're going to be going all week here on the Morning Grind. I think I'm hosting like 3 or 4 of them. We're going to be back with Chief. We're going to be back with Keith. I think Christy's on a couple times this week. So we got some really, really strong content coming your way. And hopefully we win some money here on Monday. Keep this hot streak going. We got content, Grinders Live, Crunch Time as usual in the evenings. But Chief, remind the people where they can find you for your Take Your Pick'em pod.
Hey, come join Take Your Pick'em, folks, every weekday at 10:30. My good friend Jeff, who hangs out and listens to the Morning Grind pod at night, Jeff can tell you we've been doing really well, and hopefully we continue to ride the month out in great fashion. And then TJ, as we close this thing out, I've got a new idea for you. Spidey bombs for your home runs, speedy bombs for your stolen bases. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. You heard it here first, folks.
I like it. The only reason I don't ever look too deep at stolen base stuff is because the site that I use, it's playnow.com. It's the one place I can go in Saskatchewan for sports betting. They don't have stolen base props. And so I always stick to the home run ones because they got this great odds over there, but they don't have the stolen base ones. On behalf of myself, my cat Shadow, who's hanging out this whole show, my dog Obi-Wan, who's hanging out on the couch behind us, and Chief, thank you so much for joining us. We will see you back here tomorrow on another edition of the Morning Grind. Peace.